Good morning, students. Yesterday and day before yesterday, I have talked about Romanticism, its various traits, and Romanticism as a movement, both as a revolution and revival. Today, I am going to take up one of the most representative poems of Romanticism written by Wordsworth, entitled The Solitary Reaper. The Solitary Reaper is a kind of a ballad which was written by Wordsworth in 1805 and it was published in 1807 edition of his poems, and the title of that collection was Poems in Two Volumes. Now, the poem was inspired by the song and the beauty of a young girl whom Wordsworth had seen reaping and singing in her fields when he was visiting Scotland along with his sister Dorothy. It's a kind of a lyric, and as you know, a lyric is a short, simple, musical poem expressing a single emotion. And in the same way, this poem is short, is simple, is musical, and it expresses a single emotion of the poet who is enamored and fascinated by the song of that little young lady who was reaping in her fields and who was singing some song in some local dialect. And here is a poem, The Solitary Reaper by Wordsworth. Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary highlandless, reaping and singing by herself. Stop here, gently pass. Alone she cuts and binds the grain and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the vale profound is overflowing with her sound. Behold her, the poet addresses his readers. He asks them to look beyond the fields and say that there is a beautiful girl who is busy reaping the cornfields or reaping the cotton fields. She is a reaper, she is young, she is beautiful, and she is all alone. Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary, highlandless. Yon means beyond. Highlandless, less is a young girl in Scottish language. Yon solitary highland, because she belongs to the hills and the mountains. She hails from there, and therefore solitary highland, beautiful girl. Behold her, and she is reaping and singing by herself. Now, this line, the third line of the poem, is very important in the sense that somewhere the poet has combined vocation and evocation. She is reaping and she is singing some song which the poet does not seem to understand, but it also means that she is enjoying her work because she is singing, she is happy doing that particular work which is assigned to her of reaping her fields. Reaping and singing by herself. May I tell you one very important thing about this particular line, that this line was very, very popular among the Russian critics only for the reason that vocation and evocation, hobby and work, they are combined together in this particular line. Behold her, single in the field, yon solitary, highlandless, raping and singing by herself. Stop here. No, gently pass. Alone she cuts her grain and binds the grain. She is doing the job all alone. There is nobody to help her, and sings in melancholy strain. Now, melancholy basically means sorrowful, but here melancholy means sober, low toned, and sings in melancholy strain, streaming song. She is singing some song which is in a low tone, on a low pitch, and she is singing that particular sober song which is not hilarious, which is not jubilant, which is not joyful, and sings a melancholy strain. Oh, listen, for the veil profound is overflowing with her sound. The whole valley is echoing and re-echoing the song of this little girl, this young girl, beautiful young Highland girl. It is her song which is being reverberated in the whole valley. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travellers in some shady haunt among Arabian sands. A voice so thrilling never was heard in the springtime from the cuckoo bird, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. Now, in this second stanza, the poet seems to compare the beauty and the melody of this particular song of this lady, this young girl, with the song of a nightingale or a cuckoo bird. And he finds that the song of a nightingale or a cuckoo bird cannot be that beautiful, cannot be that alluring and charming as the song of this young lady who is reaping and singing all alone in the fields. No nightingale did ever chant. No nightingale could ever sing. Nightingale is a little bird of grey color, and it is called in Hindi bulbul. No nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands. Some weary bands, some group of travelers who are tired, and they just halt for some time under some tree, and they listen to the song of some particular nightingale, and that song of that nightingale is so soothing that they feel that their tiresomeness is all gone. So no nightingale did ever chant more welcome notes to weary bands of travelers in some shady haunt. The poet imagines that some travelers who might be traveling across some deserts, they must be thirsty, they must be tired, and all of a sudden they might have halted under some tree, and there they might have listened to the song of some nightingale sitting in the tree. That song would not have been that beautiful, that melodious as the melody of the song of this young lady. A voice so thrilling never was heard in springtime from the cuckoo bird. So even the cuckoo bird is koyal. Cuckoo bird, her song, her sweet voice is not that sweet as is the song of this lady, young lady, who is singing all alone in a Scottish farmland, breaking the silence of the seas among the farthest Hebrides. That cuckoo bird whose voice is so full of shrill, whose voice is so sweet that it awakes the world of Hebrides, the world of the dead. But even that song of the cuckoo bird is not so melodious, is not so musical, so beautiful as is the song of this young lady. Will no one tell me what she sings? Perhaps the plaintive anther numbers cloud for old unhappy far off things and battles long ago. Or is it some old humble way, familiar matters of today, some natural sorrow, loss or pain that has been and may be again? Now the poet guesses as to what is the theme of the song of this young lady, because she seems to be singing in the local dialect, and the poet does not understand that the Scottish dialect in which she is singing her song, and therefore he simply guesses the theme of that particular song which is being sung by this young lady. Whatever the theme, will no one tell me what she sings? Could anybody be there who could tell me as to what is the exact gist or nature of her song? Perhaps a plaintive numbers flow. Her song, the plaintive numbers mean song. Her plaintive numbers flow for old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago. Beautiful lines, because here there is a kind of medievalism which is involved. I may tell you that there was a poet cum critic, Swinburne. He said that in Wordsworth's poetry, the whole gamut of Wordsworth's poetry, there are only two lines which may be called romantic, and those two lines are old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago. Now, the poet imagines, he guesses that the song of this little girl must pertain or might be pertaining to some old, unhappy, far off thing. She must be singing some song pertaining to some past history of her family, or some historical song pertaining to some historical event in her region. Old, unhappy, far off things and battles long ago. Maybe her song is a battle song, and she must be singing of some lost battle which her forefathers might have fought and they might have lost their lives. Or is it some old humble lay, or is it some old humble lay, or lady song, or maybe her song is a simpler song, so simple that she must be singing of daily course, daily duties of life, family matters of today. She might be singing some song about a family.